I just saw Godzilla, Kong, New Empire stuff. I was not looking forward to this movie. I did not like Godzilla versus Kong, and so I did not expect for this movie to be any different. The review embargo dropped this morning, and I actually didn't watch a single review going into this. I actually went with this with fresh eyes, which is not something you get to do with a movie too often. But at the same time, knowing that reviews were coming out the day the movie came out was also not very encouraging. I saw it in IMAX 3D. I never saw Godzilla versus Kong in theaters, and so I really was optimistic, thinking, okay, even if this movie is the same quality, maybe I'll enjoy it more because I get to see it on a huge screen in 3D. So how was the IMAX 3D? We'll talk about that first. It's okay. Sometimes IMAX 3D really impresses me. It really impressed me with like Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, and here it just was. It was a little more so disorienting, if anything. Felt more controlled with Aquaman, but here it felt very unfocused because a lot of the shots aren't the best. It's not necessarily the 3D's fault. It's more so the shots. And yeah, let's get into this movie. This is gonna turn into a little bit of a rant because everything that the MonsterVerse has become, I've hated. This is not what I want out of a monster universe. So when this started, it felt like it was going in an okay, like pretty decent direction. But these last two movies completely ruined that direction, and I just really hope that they stop. But these movies haven't been doing okay at the box office and been getting okay reviews. I just think we're gonna get more of this, unfortunately. It makes me so sad that I hate both of these movies because I really did not like this movie at all, and there's really nothing good for me to say about it besides the fact that the CGI looks good. Like, the characters are so lacking. There's no motivation. If you might defend it and say, well, it's Godzilla and Kong, chill out. Don't worry about the characters. Godzilla and Kong are boring in this movie. This movie was so boring. I was getting tired watching this. The last time that happened to me was last year with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I would say this is definitely this year's Quantumania, not Madam Web somehow. This. And I'm not going to say this is worse than Madam Web, but at the same time, if I were asked right now, what would I rather watch again? I'd probably say Madam Web, just so I can laugh at the movie rather than just being so monstrously bored and getting tired at a 3 o'clock showing in the afternoon. And I got good sleep last night. Same exact thing happened with Quantumania, where I was just almost falling asleep due to boredom. It's action-packed. It is not action-packed in the way what I want a Godzilla Kong movie to be. You go to the movies to see these mythical-like creatures to do grandiose things, and they do grandiose things, but they never feel grand. It feels like we're watching things fight each other, but with no actual weight to it. Yes, there's buildings, and yes, it's loud and everything, but there's nothing that feels actually tangible. No matter how good the CGI got, I was never immersed into this world. No matter how cool this 3D was, no matter how many times we switched to the IMAX ratio, it never immersed me because I felt nothing tangible here, not emotionally and not scale-wise. Because if the characters suck, at least maybe we could be in awe with these monsters, but I was never in awe with them because they're filming it like it's a comedy at some points. We're in the middle of an action sequence and we're doing pop zooms on Godzilla as if it's supposed to be like a reaction shot. I guess I get it, they're going for a laugh. I go to these movies to feel the weight. Everything that I love about a monster movie or like these huge scale monster movies is encapsulated in the 2014 Godzilla film when that one shot when it's looking through that huge glass window of the airport and you see Godzilla's foot go down and his foot takes up that entire airport window. That is the type of stuff I'm talking about. That's what I want to see. I want these creatures to feel big before they just start punching one another. When we introduced this baby Kong or whatever, I had no idea how big this creature was because it didn't really put any trees around him or any type of something that feels tangible to us. It felt like I was watching a little monkey. And then you see him next to a human, you're like, okay, he's huge. Throughout the movie, I would see some of these new creatures and I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at. It just felt so CGI to me. Nothing ever felt human with the camera. That's why you watch movies. A camera is you. You are that character watching the movie. And so when I see a shot from an impossible angle, sometimes I'm fine with it because, hey, it's a cool shot. But with movies like this that are really supposed to put you in this unbelievable circumstance, I really want to see scale to it all. I want to be looking up at the characters, even if that might not be the best shot for the moment. There is a few shots in this movie where it cut to a wide where I was like, okay, thank God I needed that because of so disorienting. And yes, there's fun ideas. You see in the trailer, there's things where character gets punched in the face and you see his tooth get basically thrown into his side of the building, and that's fun. You see a part where he grabs a monkey chain and wraps it around a building and wraps it cuts the building in half with a chain and throws at another thing. You see Godzilla hit his tail as Kong threw somebody at him. Those fun ideas, yes, they're okay, but it was never campy enough for me to really buy those ideas. It was either taking itself way too seriously or it wasn't embracing the camp enough. I was in a constant war with this movie. The editing sucks, by the way. The editing here is very like storyline, 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 storyline. I felt like I was watching two different movies going on at the same time. I just kept watching them back to and one scene this, and then they just come together at the end, which is another huge issue I had with the last movie. It felt like I was watching two different storylines the entire time and they come together at the end, which works with some movies, but these didn't feel related. It didn't feel like I was cutting back to one scene to another for a reason. It felt like because we needed to get there was the whole reason. It felt like the whole movie was just like, we're trying to get to this place so we can wrap up the movie and be over with. I know the last movie, the first cut was 5 hours and then they had to cut it down. I wouldn't be surprised if this was the same case, because there's a lot of things here that you feel useless. And most of the time when you're watching a movie and something feels useless, it's most likely because it's been cut back from a longer cut that I've learned. Because I've run into myself when I made a short film where I cut something and then something was like, well, what was the point of that? I'm like, well, I cut this, and so then that would have made sense. And they're like, oh, okay. So most likely when you watch something in the movie that seems useless, no writer is just putting it in there for the heck of it. It's most likely because they cut it. And this was literally throughout the movie. They cut these movies back because I guarantee you they're mandated to be under 2 hours, because I believe this is like an hour and 50 something. I just feel like these movies are messy. They're everything wrong with Hollywood besides the fact that the CGI looks good. Like I said, the best praise is thank God the CGI looks good, or else I would probably say this is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. At least the creative team behind this film gave the CG artists time to work on their art and gave them time to make it look good. Besides that, they did basically everything else wrong. Cast is fine. Brian Henry's funny, but doesn't really have anything to do. Rebecca Hall's there. The kid actor, she's good in the movie, but she has a boring storyline. And we explore the Hollow Earth more, which is a concept I did like from Godzilla vs. Kong, but don't think they dive deep enough into. Here we dive deeper into it, but they did it in the most boring way. So usually I don't like to trash on filmmakers, but I'm just saying there's two filmmakers that right now I'm just like kind of like, okay, if they end up missing, don't look at me. Right, those two filmmakers are now Peyton Reed and Adam Wingard. Wingard, how do you say is it? Wingard? I'm gonna say Wingard. God, their movies. I mean, there's things I respect about both filmmakers, but so far, I can go on and on and on about everything I hated about this movie. And the thing is, some people who might watch this review and say, "Oh, you just don't like fun. You don't like to see a fun movie. Why can't you just embrace the fun?" Here's the thing: I'm a defender of the Michael Bay Transformers movies. I know how to have fun. Like, I love turning my brain off and watching nonsense. But it's nonsense, and that's not really my biggest criticism. My biggest criticism, which deters me from having fun, is the way that they capture this. The way that they film this isn't fun. It's boring. Transformers always had, a sense of scale to it all, a sense of epicness, and these are just dull. Yeah, okay, that's all I gotta say. Don't see it. Don't support movies like this. I mean, well, maybe the only thing I can support about this movie is, hey, CGI look good. But yeah, I'm gonna give this one a 3 out of 10. Like the last movie. Bye. I don't like it. Yeah, I'm broken now. Thanks, Warner Brothers, for doing that to me, and put Doom 2 back in IMAX, because this is just wasting IMAX time, because Doom 2 needs more IMAX, and don't break my soul. Okay, yeah, bye.